Many, many, many years ago, a game called The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker was released by a small company you may or may not have heard of called Nintendo. Now see, this wasn't the first in the line of these Legend of Zelda games, so I would be completely understanding if you told me I have no idea what you're talking about, because there are just so many to choose from, you might not actually know of this one. But indeed, there was a game called The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, and in said game, the world is an ocean. That part is irrelevant, but it is in fact mostly just an ocean. Because of the floods, you see. But these floods, they caused many, many islands to sprout up towards the surface, and one such island, I don't remember what it's called, but that's irrelevant to the story, because this island was home to the Deku Tree. Now, some people might say Deku Tree, or the Deku Tree, but I really don't care, and that is also irrelevant. Now this Deku Tree, if you will, he was in charge of everything, for he was a giant tree that could talk, and his little sproutlings, his Koroks, as you might once call them, lived alongside of him. But there was one such Korok that didn't play by the rules. No. This Korok disobeyed the Deku Tree, and he went on a journey to the Forbidden Woods, a wood that is in fact forbidden. And on this journey to these Forbidden Woods, he was trapped. No longer could he make it back to the island with the Deku Tree until one day, our story's protagonist, Link, if you can believe it, came across him and helped him. And since Link was so kind as to help our brave young Makar, Makar in turn helped Link. And they, together as one, managed to overcome the Forbidden Woods, and eventually, also, he helped in a different dungeon, but I don't remember the name of that one and it's also irrelevant. But nonetheless, our brave young Makar, Korok, rebel, friend, this is where his story started. But as legend would have it, that just west of the Korok Forest lies an island named after our brave young Korok, who without him, the Koroks would never have made their mark on the world. But what exactly is on this island? If you really take a second to look at this island on surface level, you know, after you've gotten over the fact that there's actually not a Korok here, even though it's called Makar Island, if you actually sit and take a look, you'll notice upon arrival, you get attacked by almost a dozen stallfolk. But not only that, there are bones scattered throughout this island. And they're not just any bones. Look at this. These are not Korok, Hylian, Sora, Goron, or Rito remains. And you might be thinking, well, yeah, there were a whole bunch of stallfolk here. But let me ask you this, do these look like the Lizalfos, Moblins, or Bokoblins that we encountered? No, but what does it look like? Now you might be thinking, well, I don't know, LemonDuck, what does it look like? Because honestly, I can't think of a single thing that it looks like. Now here's where it gets crazy, but they are in fact Dodongo bones. See, you didn't see that coming, because I just made it up. And you may be asking, why Dodongo bones? Because, dear you, the Dodongo is the natural enemy of the Gorons. Now you might be thinking, LemonDuck, that's a bit of a stretch. This is Makar Island, not Goron Island. And to that I would say you are correct. But what you are not thinking about is why would a Dodongo be here? Yes, you are absolutely correct that Dodongos wouldn't normally be around the Koroks. But that, oh that, is the reason they are all dead. See, somebody, somewhere, brought these Dodongos to Makar Island. Some dastardly fiend brought these poor Dodongos from their volcano home and shoved them onto this tiny island. But who would do this, and why? Well, let me weave you a tale. Once upon a time, let's say 100 years ago, Ganon arose from the darkness, and he conquered the land of Hyrule. We know it happened. We saw it happen. But what we don't know is that a short time between when Ganon took over and when Zelda trapped him in the castle, he went on a rampage. And one of his first stops was Makar Island, because he had a beef with Makar. because if you somehow remember our story from earlier, Makar the Brave, as we like to call him, set out on a journey with Link to stop Ganon, and they succeeded. Ganon has held on to this grudge in his heart the entire time. He was just waiting and plotting his revenge. Now the first thing he did was take over Death Mountain. Everyone knows, it's common knowledge at this point I would imagine, that the lizard was the first divine beast that was taken over. He took over this volcano and he took over the Dodongos. Notice, if you will, there are no Dodongos in Breath of the Wild. You might be thinking, what is a Dodongo, LemonDuck? I've never played a video game that's not Breath of the Wild. Well, let me tell you, they're like a quadrupedal dinosaur thing that can breathe fire. But, most importantly, they are not in this game, because they were taken from their home 100 years ago, and they were placed all around Hyrule, but most importantly, on Makar Island. And now, as I've said before, they are in fact all dead. Why would they be dead? Because this is the story that the game neglects to tell you. Sure, we know about Link's heroics, we know that he stood up to the Guardians, we know he protected Zelda to his very last breath until he collapsed and had to be taken to the Shrine of Rejuvenation. And we all know what happened after that. But what we don't know, what we don't see, is that the Dodongos were let loose upon Makar Island, and the brave Makar fought them back. He fought and he fought. And not only did he fight Dodongos, no, he also fought Moblins, he fought Lizalfos, he fought Bokoblins. There are nothing but bones on this island, my friends. He fought them all off, and he destroyed them all. And much like our hero Link, he used up every ounce of his strength to do so. But alas, unlike Link, Princess Zelda was not there to help him. And thus he collapsed in the middle of the island, and to this day his spirit resides, trying to repair the damage done by the attack that took place 100 years ago. Hey, you made it through the video. If you enjoyed it, please consider leaving it a like and maybe even subscribing to the channel if you want to see more from me. I'm really trying to get better at all of this, so I would love some feedback on what you liked, what you didn't like, and maybe even what you would like to see in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.